Well, hello everybody. What
Hey,
is
Naran.
going on? Hi, Louis. Hey, it's good to see everyone joining us. And as people are rolling in, welcome to Real Estate Wealth Lab. This is where we unpack and tell you what we're doing, how we can help, and how we leverage each other's knowledge to invest in real estate. Louis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Really looking forward to tonight's call.
Hey, I see Lester Singh is in the crowd. Lester, I have not talked to you in a while. Hey, if you're in this call, and unless you're doing something that we really shouldn't see, it would be great if we could turn your camera on. You don't have to look pretty. You just have to look at us. It just really, really helps. I mean, I'm a connector, and I love seeing. Hey, there's J Deep, man. J Deep's. I don't know where you are, J Deep, but you're somewhere in Northern Ontario. That's what it looks like. I throw in the chat where you're coming from. So Lewis and I have an idea of where you're coming from. I think somebody said they were from Ottawa. I know Lewis, you're from Toronto. I'm about an hour and a half in the deep, deep woods outside of Toronto. Kitchener Waterloo is J Deep. So
Nima from
good to have
Edmonton.
everybody. Edmonton.
Cranbrook, Maureen has made the call. Wonderful.
Awesome. Shall we get the show on the road?
Let's do
There's
it.
Phil from Calgary. All right. So we've got something really, really different today, Lewis. But before we get into the call, I know we have a couple of housekeeping things to look after. So can you throw the slide deck up, and just if you flip through the first few slides, I'll chatter along,
No
and
problem. Let
we'll
me get
get this
that
show on
going.
the road.
Let me get this set up for us here.
Hey, Mona, great to see you. Hi, Maureen. You're the people that I can see on my screen, so I know there's a lot more of you out there. And if you're catching the read, thank you. And I trust that this will be of great value.
All right.
All right. So, Real Estate Wealth Lab, this is our team. If you want to go to the next slide, Lewis, and one of the things, if you've been with us and you've walked alongside of us along the last few months, you're going to notice that we don't just talk about one type of real estate. We are very varied in the way we approach it. Some of us are landlords. I myself do multifamily long-term investing. We have short-term investing. We have Lewis. You do a lot of construction and building development. I know Kyle works a lot with negotiating and public speaking. So we've got a really strong executive team, and we're simply in the real estate world doing our own real estate thing and able to share what we're learning along the way. Now, a quick legal disclaimer. Real Estate Wealth Lab does not provide investment advice and for you. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you feel free to. What this really says is that we are providing forward-looking information. Any information that expresses market predictions, expectations, beliefs, plans, protection, objectives, and assumptions of future events or performance, that the forward-looking information contains a number of risks. So you really need to this is not meant to substitute your own due diligence and your own engagement of licensed professionals. Okay. Next slide for me,
Right.
Liz. So I am the Chief Leadership Officer of Real Estate Wealth Lab, and I think most of you know me. I get really excited, not just about real estate and multifamily investing, but I get excited when leaders change and really grow. That's kind of my main wheelhouse, and it has shown up in real estate, allowing to build a large portfolio. But today, Lewis, you are going to be taking us on a journey, of the start of a journey.
Yes.
And so let me just cue this up properly. For those of you who don't know, Lewis is our chief advisor, and he is highly skilled in long-term buy and hold and in development. He runs a company, JDL Builders, which is has done, I believe, Lewis, you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but over 1 billion. That's a billion with a B. $1 billion worth of contracts.
A lot of this work is a culmination of all the experience that I've had with other builders that I've been a part of and purchases that I made, along with the construction company that I've been running since 2013. Yeah, it's been a lot of work in a lot of various sectors as well, not only, commercial retail, but multifamily real estate, single family residential, all that type of good stuff. So a lot of experience, a lot of work, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, and you learn a lot you know when you've been around for a couple of decades like I have, and it's still exciting. So I'm still plugging away.
You still look like a spring chicken. The But here's what is unique and different, Lewis, and what most of our guests don't know is that while you have been leaning into the real estate investment world and into the renovation construction world, what most of us would not know is that you have been investigating, digging, searching, understanding what does it look like for Canadians to invest outside of Canada. And I know that you have done some trips. You've taken some not just leisure trips, but trips to investigate and get a feel for different investment areas outside of Canada. So one of the things that Real Estate Wealth Lab, we're going to be leaning into, mainly because of your leadership in this, is in the area of investing outside of Canada. So this is the first call. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first of many to come where we're going to be having conversations about what does it look like for us to invest in an area that is outside of our country. And I know that's a huge undertaking, but we're going to be breaking it down piece by piece. And we're going to be sharing, and we get to, Lewis, I know that you're aggressively moving forward in that area. You're dragging me along, you're dragging Kyle along, but now
That's right.
we've opened up the dragnet, so to speak, to all our members. So we'll all learn from you and you from us,
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not. Perfect. Why don't you take it away, Lewis?
Excellent. So just before we do that, I want to make sure that everyone is aware of the 20-minute consultation that can be booked. Narayan, do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Absolutely. Both Lewis and I are run very, very busy, and we charge a lot for our consultations. But if you are in this call and you would like to get access to us for a consult, for a problem or an upset that you're dealing with, don't try and do it alone. Pick up the phone or send an email, schedule a consult that's completely complimentary to you. It's a 20-minute consult, and we'll get on a Zoom call, and we can actually bring some light and ease into your life.
Awesome. Excellent.
And the next event that we've got is in March 27th. This will be an in-person event. I believe we'll be broadcasting this through Zoom, but at the same time, we are meeting in person. And Kyle Guthrow, which some of you know, will be chief driver for that event.
I'm looking forward to that one.
That's right. He's very skilled at negotiating. So he'll be speaking about negotiations and how to close a real estate deal, what he's learned in the trenches.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, so
Perfect. Take it away.
For tonight, without further ado, we're going to be looking at some international opportunities. But really, to frame this out, we're going to have a short agenda that I'm just going to be quickly talking about. This call tonight is about what this international journey can really look like for you. Before you get into the numbers and the sticks and the stones of a potential property or some type of, real estate purchase that you're looking for abroad, what is the purpose? What is your main mission behind this? Is it simply for lifestyle, where you're looking for maybe a winter home in Mexico, for example, to get away for 2, 4, or 6 months of the year? Are you looking to heavily invest in another market that's up and coming? Regardless of what this looks like for you, before you even get to knock or turn that door handle and step into that property or have a look at some land purchase, whatever the case may be, what are the main things of consideration, really on an overarching kind of plane? What's the political stability of the country you want to invest in? You know, are you still going to be in ownership of the real estate in 10 years from now, or is it going to be taken from you, right? These are serious considerations because we may not have it perfect here at home, but we definitely have it better than a lot of countries. And we're very fortunate for the safety, for most part, that we have in the country of Canada. So we're going to be going through a few things today, what that international exploration may look like, different ways to analyze and consider a property purchase. But like I'm emphasizing, even before you get to the property purchase itself, you're entering a new country. How are you going to be doing that? Are you going to be able to come and go as you please? Are you looking in a country that you may already have the opportunity to naturalize again as a citizen if you already have relatives living there or a bloodline that you can now work with the government body and a consulate back in Canada to get a personal residence, a citizenship, any type of long-term visa, or even to the extent of a passport reinstated if it's a country that you indeed have family in. Gaining valuable insights by doing a couple of tried, tested, and true metrics that I like to use, and then we'll round it all off with different international markets that are up and coming, that have been on the forefront for some time, and that are continuing to emerge and really have a positive trajectory, and a couple markets as well that may not be very popular now, but from what I'm gathering and from the information that I'm looking at, they're going to be having a very, prosperous next decade or two. So without further ado, let's jump into this and get going. And if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat. And at the end of the presentation, we should have a solid 5 or 10 minutes to go through any questions that anyone has. So this is a photo that my wife took last year. She's looking in a few areas in Italy. Unfortunately, right now, I cannot give up this location because it's this little sweet spot that we found, and we want to keep it that way. So I have to keep my lips sealed. I've been sworn to secrecy. But, this is what you're out there for as a lifestyle investment. Italy, as an example, just again, on a very, on a macro level review, Italy may not be a market that you want to invest in for a return on your investment. They have a low birth rate. There is not a tremendous amount of economic growth that's pushing it to the forefront, although they do have some world-leading sectors in Italy, manufacturing, food and beverage, auto manufacturing, but it's not a place in most of the cities and towns where you want to invest for a return on your dollar. Barring, Rome and Milan and a few places like that, which are exceptionally expensive to get into. Italy would be more of a lifestyle play. And obviously with scenery like that, that's why you want to be there. So when finding different opportunities globally, you must consider, your game plan overall and your strategy for this. Is it indeed, like I've already mentioned, a lifestyle play? Are you looking to take a portion of your wealth or even just a small percentage of it and offshore that somewhere else to a location that may hold future opportunity for you to grow that? Or like I previously mentioned, a location where you already have family or ancestral ties, and there's an opportunity for you to get into that country with a little more ease from the aspect of passport or residency, that can definitely help international purchases, because in many countries, foreigners are not allowed to purchase. Sometimes through a corporate structure, you're able to circumvent that, but there are a lot of countries that do not allow foreigners to purchase. Some have exceptions to the rule, like you'll be able to purchase, say, a condo or property on the second floor or higher, but they will not allow you to purchase any ground level, any land, any detached homes. But again, it varies from country to country. So other things to consider, again, short-term plans. If it's lifestyle, how long are you going to be enjoying this for? Are you looking to pass it off to family? Are you looking to possibly, I know a few folks that are successfully running Airbnb models out of some countries in Southeast Asia, which again, fabulous scenery, definitely a lifestyle play, but they've been able to incorporate that business component there because of the amount of tourism that really is supporting good chunk of the Southeast Asian marketplace. And can you strike a balance? Are you looking for something like a 6 and 6 or to split your time? Are you able to leave Canada for, call it 6 months of the year, and continue to conduct your business, or possibly retire abroad for a few months and then return and maintain that balance of healthcare, lifestyle in Canada, but also getting the rewards of other continents or countries that are really exciting to you? So you want to look at what's pulling you there, like we're discussing. Here we have a few photos of 3 different continents, actually. On the far left with that beautiful sunset, Colombia in South America, that is a country that is really starting to pick up in a lot of different economic sectors, fabulous birth rates, and just an absolutely gorgeous country. Decent trade agreement with Canada too. So there are some ties that already exist there, which is always a plus. If you're looking to go to a country and there is some business component there for you potentially, consider the trading and bargaining agreements that Canada has with these other countries, because that could possibly be a slipstream for you to get into these other marketplaces if Canada already has strong and solidified relations with these countries. The photo in the center is of a shopping mall, one of the nicer shopping malls in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. They love their shopping there. They are still building so many. We were there last year, and we're heading back in, this September. Fabulous place, really, really cost-effective lifestyle there. Rents are very cheap. Food is extremely reasonable. Solid healthcare sector, reasonably strong banking sector. They have a lot of different sectors and employment fields, like natural gas and petroleum, a lot of other natural products that they're importing and exporting. They have some manufacturing sector there, a growing finance sector. And actually Malaysia and Indonesia are responsible for approximately 85, if not 90% of the world's palm oil industry, which is a very, very large industry indeed. And the photo on the far right, that is another town in Italy. So when you're looking to make this shift, first and foremost, consider what that's going to look like for you and the reasons behind it. Is it retirement, business, employment, lifestyle? Are you still, of an age where you're going to be gainfully employed for the next, say, 20, 30, 40 years, and the taxation is just not working for you here, and you want to see what other possibilities there may be for offshoring part or all of your business and still being able to operate in the country of Canada? What does that look like for your real estate purchase? Are you going to need a
Lewis.
property? Yes.
sorry to interject. I have a question for you. If you could just
No
go.
problem.
But before I ask that, I do want to say one thing. It's really, I think it's important. What you're highlighting is that investing is not always for ROI.
Right.
When I find that, when I was younger, it was all about show me the money. As you get older, you go, well, I want lifestyle, I want this, I want that. So it's not, I think it's important to notice that when we look at investing and the way you're speaking about investing, it is not simply about money. It is also about lifestyle. It's about other reasons, of even the emotional reason of being able to own a piece of where your ancestors came from or something like that. And I
Right.
think that's important, and that should not be stepped over,
Huge,
right?
because it's this is such an undertaking for us, and if the only reason is the money, uh, that reason could easily dry up, and you're still going to have the requirement or necessity for the travel, the expense, the legal and professional team that you'll need not only in Canada now but wherever it is you are internationally. So definitely important to highlight all these things so you can really solidify a reasonable game plan before you start to take a leap of faith
Right.
and deploy yourself into this adventurous opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely, Lewis. The one thing I would do want to head back to is something that you said earlier,
Yeah.
that there is to consider the trade agreements that Canada has with certain countries when looking at a country to invest in. I don't want to put you under the gun, and you don't have to answer this question now, but if you can you explain to us what do you mean by that? Why should it matter to me what trade agreements Canada has with a country from my investing? What is the
Cool.
advantage? What does it mean to me as an
So I
investor?
can, I'm actually going to go into a little more detail later on in the slides. I'll save that if that's okay.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Very important though. Very important. Thank you, Naran. Um, So to summarize, before I move on, as Naran highlighted, first and foremost is pulling that plan together so you're excited about it. No one goes off to purchase international real estate because they've been told to or they have to. This is for most of us um, going to be something that we put together ourselves. A mission and a journey that is going to possibly shed some light on maybe more ancestry or family history of the like, or just a brand new exploration and adventure that really can possibly open some new doors. It's important to me because travel has been one of those things that I've been so fortunate to have been able to participate in for most of my life, and it has given me such a fantastic perspective both on what we have here and established in Canada, the pros and the cons, but also what international markets have to offer above and beyond what Canada can. So I wanted to, really highlight that because it's more than just the property. The property is a big part. Investing is fantastic, but since this is such a great undertaking, you really want to make sure that you look at all factors holistically and make sure that it's something that you and your family or partner, whoever the dependents are, you're going to be dragging around the globe, are a part of this decision and discussion, and you can make it collectively and hopefully make the right one. So this is just an example. I wanted to throw a couple of really nice highlight photos in here from a market in Malaysia that we were at last year. One of the things that is really important to me is within lifestyle is nutrition and diet. And we're fortunate enough to have reasonable places to, purchase and select a lot of what we eat in Canada. The abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables and meats in Southeast Asia was something that really struck me as a huge positive, along with the very reasonable costing of a lot of the produce and different items that are consumable there. And this is a photo, again, the scenery, if it's something that captivates you or that will pull you into a potential opportunity for real estate. This is not for sale. This is actually the Royal Palace in Cambodia in Phnom Penh. But I just wanted to highlight that there, that things are moving and shaking. They're doing some restoration to one of the legislature buildings there. And I believe on the left, that's a little outdoor prayer temple for meditation, but just absolutely beautiful grounds there. And last one I'll share before I jump into the next slide is another undisclosed location in central Italy, I believe on the Adriatic coast. And this was a photo that my wife took last year. She's looking at a little pocket in Italy there. So I sent her off last year to do some reconnaissance work. I was not with her, but could be worse. So Naran mentioned
that kind of reconnaissance work can get you in trouble.
That's right. So Naran, you mentioned why the potential trade agreements between and we'll just for now look at Canada between any other country. Those are potential ties that if you're again working with a multinational company, if you're a real estate agent and work with REMAX operates in many, many countries. If there's anything that you have going on here that may be a benefit to pull you into an international scene, I mentioned the trade agreements because when I was in Malaysia last year, I was able to actually work my way in to meet with the High Commission of Canada in Malaysia, and they are really responsible for any liaison between what operation Canada is bringing into parts of Southeast Asia, predominantly Malaysia, because they have a few high commissions in Southeast Asia. So my conversations with them was around manufacturing of processed goods, food, and importing and exporting, and what that looked like between Canada and Malaysia, because there could be a potential business opportunity for me in the future. So that's what my conversation was about. But at the bottom of the list here, on the bottom right, I just want to point out both EDC and BDC. Now, that is Economic Development Canada and the Business Development Canada. They're two associations that are instrumental in helping people not only grow, coach, and increase banking capabilities for their businesses in Canada, but EDC starts to take over when you're going internationally. So if this is something you feel is for you, and you do have some type of business, if you're self-employed, where you feel you may be able to leverage an international opportunity, you're going to want to speak with EDC. Again, this is unsolicited. I've been in communication with them. They have a lot of fabulous webinars specifically to business, so they can really help in that front. Check them out, and it may be able to help you if this is something of interest for you. Now, overall resources, there's a million of them, but I just wanted to put on one simple page and collect them again on a high level for this call, just to show you if you're planning a trip now, say in 2 months from now, and you want to hit the ground running and identify, how am I going to start to analyze this place? These are some things that you can take into consideration. On the left, I have a list of a few things that you can do while you're in the country internationally. There are many expat communities all over the world. You can tap into them, and obviously the language barrier is going to be non-existent there, so you'll be able to communicate with them. A lot of local investors too speak English and are looking for international buyers. They'll be able to assist you. Different fixers and consultants that specialize in people coming in to, not only look at real estate, but maybe relocate for some type of job. They know housing, temp housing, places that foreigners would feel most comfortable to start out in, modes of transportation and shopping, and all of that stuff that would be a necessity for, you know, starting off in a country for the first couple of months so you can get your feet wet reasonably easily. Naran, do you have any comment?
Yeah, Lewis. Well, first of all, if you're looking at this slide, you really, is it okay if they take a screenshot of the slide, Lewis?
Absolutely. There's a lot of info here that can help.
I
And
think you really should if you are thinking of any type of foreign investment, just because you have one place where you can go down every one of these into every one of these rabbit holes, so to speak, and
yeah,
really do some due diligence. Even if you're planning a vacation, I'm telling you,
oh
Lewis, that
yeah,
I'm going away in May, and I'm going to be doing some of these things to the area undisclosed right now.
right,
So
yeah,
where I will be going, where I'll be looking at, and the on the left side, expat communities, tour guides, local media, journalists. Um, those are people with a great wealth of understanding that you just do not find out of a website.
yeah, yeah,
Where I remember years ago, I did some work in Cuba, and what I learned from website, but what I learned from people on the ground and the locals there was so different and so eye-opening. And what it will do when you start having those conversations is that it will open doors for you and opportunities for you that not just the local community, but also to build in ways that you will not find you are looking at a very surface level. So take a screenshot.
yeah.
That's it, Lewis.
Excellent. Thank you, Naran. So yeah, left side of the screen there, self-explanatory. A lot of boots on the ground, folks that can assist you in whatever country that you know, after you spin the globe and drop your finger on a spot that you're going to be taking off to, they'll definitely be able to help you out. On the right side, you're probably going to see some familiar acronyms there. There are a bunch of property managers, you know, asset managers, banks, the World Bank, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, um, globalized corporations being, you know, companies that operate in more than one continent, really. Um, these are all important to review because most of these are westernized based. So what I mean by that is they're either from North America or Europe, with the exception really of HSBC, which is Hong Kong Bank, but you know their main headquarters, I believe, is in London, England. Um, you're going to want to take all this information definitely with a grain of salt because a lot of it, especially when you start to get into, you know, the IMF and other institutions, they're going to have their own biased opinions on what's going on, and they, whether you like it or not, have an agenda that they're, you know, they're pushing, and that's fine. We don't need to get into politics today, but the reason I put them on here is because they can do a lot of the dirty work for you in the sense of, you know, spending their millions of dollars having consultants and accountants complete these reports on these countries that you are interested in. And you can Google and find all this information online. Updated reports from 2022, 23, even 24 starting to spill out now. And what this will offer is a fantastic opportunity to get a snapshot of what the economy is looking like, what key drivers and indicators they have there, much like and familiar to Canadian marketplace, you know, immigration, housing, the education system, what sectors are really pushing the economy along, what emerging sectors or technologies are really taking off, and are these countries adopting new finance and technology techniques that are able, in some cases, able to create a lot of jobs. With technology moving the way it is, a lot of jobs will also be up in the air. But these uh, companies and conglomerates will at least be able to offer some insight into that with their reports. And again, take the information with a grain of salt, but it'll give you a very solid comparison. Once you review those reports, again, before your trip ideally, and then comparing that homework with the boots on the ground folks that you're meeting in the country of your choice or your selection, that's going to give you really help identify the best non-biased opinion of where the country's at, what their trajectory looks like. And a few things that I've not put down here that I personally like to focus on is when I get boots on the ground anywhere, just look around and have a sense of the general cleanliness and state of the country you're in. How do the people carry themselves? Are the people generally happy, right? It takes a little bit more than that. Sometimes you definitely have to start speaking to folks, but and there are stats out there. I actually heard of something yesterday, if not today, about happiness meters, and the top 10 happiest country or the saddest countries globally. So it's a real thing, and that's important to me because that is a true indicator of productivity. And if we're looking at GDP numbers or looking to forecast something, what better way to tell of a forecast than identifying the happiness of a nation or of most people? So that is something that may not be written everywhere, but something very serious to consider because it has such a real impact 6, 12, 18 months down the road, and for years on end. That never stops. So the happiness of the country and its people and how united they are. One thing I found very interesting, and again, the call is not about politics or religion, but I just want to make a comment towards the different religions in Southeast Asia. Malaysia, predominantly Islamic. Cambodia, predominantly Buddhist. And there's a third one in there. Turkey. We had a layover in Turkey, and Turkey is predominantly Islamic. My apologies. Malaysia is predominantly Muslim. So with those three, obviously very large religions in the world, I'm not an expert in any of them, and they all have their, ways about them, which is fine. But the comment I want to make about it is that they take their religions, regardless of what religion, very seriously. And what I notice with that is that the families seemed very united overall. It's not a perfect world, and they definitely have their difficulties and issues, don't get me wrong. But overall, when the state and the country supports that religion and everyone that lives there, for the majority, support that religion, there's a sense of unity. And for me, I feel it's something that we're missing here at home. And it doesn't matter for whatever reason. Canada is the most diverse and multicultural country in the world. So, having unity in religion, I believe, is next to impossible. But some of these other countries, just from a different perspective, seeing that, for me, I think it's a good thing, because if there's anything out there that's going to unite a country, it's better than dividing a country. So in these places, for religion to do that, again, whether you think it's right or wrong, the facts don't lie. The people are united for the most part, and that's pushing prosperity in their country because they all want a better life for their families. Okay, I think I've covered everything here.
Liz, while
Yes.
you're checking to see if you've covered everything, I think it was Mona who said, well said about your comment about religion. Here's what I find. When values are aligned, you get unity. And when you have
Yes. Yeah.
unity and people working together, and the crucible of values being aligned shows up in religious organizations. And in the lack of religious
It does.
organizations, it splinters down to political organizations, but it gets more splintered. And the further you move away, the more splintered it gets. But when you have unity of purpose and
Yep.
oneness in the way society is structured, all of a sudden you have prosperity going up.
That's exactly it, right? And almost like the happiness meter. If people are motivated, in line with one another, working together, that's a dangerous recipe for success. It's going to be hard to stop those folks, right? So
Yes.
it's a good thing. And then, your comment, Naran, regarding politics. From what I've seen, politics globally, they're a mess everywhere. I saw a stat that this year, 2024, almost 50% of countries globally will be going to the polls at some capacity for a re-election, to either, municipal, state, provincial, territorial leaders. That is a lot of action globally. And from what I've seen between reading and traveling and speaking to people, um, politics are a mess everywhere. But at the end of the day, if politics do what they're supposed to at core and lead their people, that's a start, right? But it's not happening in a lot of places, unfortunately.
Yes. And that stat, I came across a similar stat as you look about elections. I didn't realize it was 50% of countries. But that means that we are in for what I would call, and please don't tell this to anybody else. This is our secret. What I would call the loony times. Anytime there people are going to polls, weird stuff starts happening. But in there is an opportunity because you start seeing government spending, you start seeing people making promises, and
Yep.
as a real estate investor and as a citizen of this world, it gives me a chance to align myself to what is fundamentally value is a value to me and to my family. And my family, I don't mean just like my group, my tribe, so to speak, and
Yep.
really set things up for the future. What else do you have for us, Lewis, before we jump into some questions?
A few more slides to finish off. And before I leave this
Sure.
slide, that is a photo. We're landing back in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Those are palm oil trees. That's what it looks like if you've never seen it before. So, again, unfortunately, a destructive crop. A lot of forest, Amazon, and lush fields are taken over by this crop. Um, but it's, I guess, a necessary evil because there's almost 8 billion people to feed, and being able to create cheap, cost effective, maybe not the best for you, means of cooking for folks. Again, Malaysian and Indonesia's 85-90% of producer globally for palm oil. So we're getting near the end. As far as action steps, I put together this. Again, take a photo if you like. If you're going to be jumping on a plane going somewhere this year, to identify that spot that you may be interested in, this is a very simple way to just go about identifying if this is something that can potentially work for you, or if you need to tweak and change a few things before you take that next step into international exploration and investing. So assess your needs, your wants, while obviously considering your responsibilities. Where are you at right now with employment? Are you preparing for retirement? What does your health and fitness look like for you? Would that be a consideration in moving or moving part-time to another country? Obviously, healthcare will be one of your top priorities. Family independent, environment and level of happiness, like I was speaking about, very important. Financial considerations. What's your investment plan? Are you going to buy and stay in place? Are you going to invest and just visit it when you need to? Are you going to have a local on the ground that could possibly help you out and relay information to you? Or are you looking for part-time living, maybe 6 and 6? Mexico is, I believe, and I'm not the only one, a sleeping giant. They have a population of, I believe it's over 150 million people, tons of land. They are slowly turning a leaf and really unifying the country in different ways. Again, they are not without their problems, but there are many parts of Mexico that are moving in the right direction and welcoming a lot of foreigners as well. So once you finish that first stage of assessment, you're going to want to go to the right side of the screen and identify the criteria for the country. Look at its taxation, look at its people, their level of happiness. How how are you going to stay busy with outdoor activities? What's there to amuse yourself with? Are you looking for something in the middle of nowhere so you can get some rest and relaxation? Or would you prefer to be close to or in a bustling city so there's always something to do and see and somewhere to eat? What does the GDP look like? What sectors do they have? Do they have any emerging markets coming out? I didn't put it on here, but again, does this country have any trade agreements and bargaining with Canada in place that you may potentially be able to take advantage of? Is there a Canadian consulate in the country? Is that important to you and a consideration? Would it help you and give you a little bit more peace of mind? The political stability. Again, unfortunately, politics are a mess everywhere, and that's definitely one of many paradigms that needs to shift. So we are all served as citizens, but currently that's, we have to fight that battle every day. What does the political stability look like in that country you're looking at? The return on investment for your capital. What's the real estate market looking like? Is it busy? Is it growing? What do the immigration numbers look like? And again, diet and nutrition, another important one. There are wonderful places that you can move to that have incredible amounts of fresh food, seafood, produce. And there are other places, unfortunately, that are not so good. So these are just a couple of things to consider in your endeavors. So I'm just going to move forward here. So if you want to take a screenshot, if you haven't yet, I'll leave this up for another 5 seconds. And again, just craft your plan around your lifestyle. I can't stress enough, because that's going to be able to give you the easiest transition if you're honest with yourself and identify what it is that you want to do with this and make it a journey where you're going to be investing. Maybe open a bank account, do something simple, put a little bit of money there, educate and learn about it first. Obviously, that it is possible that you can open an account by going into the bank, transferring a little bit of money in there, identifying what the hospital and medical situation is like. When we go back to Malaysia this year, we're going to be doing another full physical. It's about $400 to $600. It's an 8 to 10 hour procedure. They take care of everything. It's beautiful. So very, very good hospitals and medical practices in the country of Malaysia. Check out property tours. They may cost you a little bit of money if you don't know anybody there. You may have to pay, but most folks are very friendly and be more than willing to show you around and take you for some trips. Find the opportunity in the lack of systems. In a lot of these countries, if you're in a position of business and looking to grow or start a business, a lot of these countries do not have the sophistication and systems in place like we do in Canada. For example, simple Uber Eat apps. A lot of the programs that were developed here, people mimicked them and brought them to other continents and did the exact same thing there and made it continent specific. And obviously, with tremendous results. So look at things like that if you have something here, it may be missing there. Ensure it will increase the quality of your life. Right? I can't stress that enough. This has to be something that you're looking forward to. You're obviously doing it for a reason, and it should make you feel good. Now, moving forward, these are a bunch of countries and continents that we're looking at and working on. So if you want to take a screenshot of these countries and maybe out of them identify one or two that you may want to look at. Again, the list is a lot longer than this, but these are some that have displayed a lot of growth in the past, have a fantastic trajectory for the future. Some are still in the stage of emerging, but there are a lot of key indicators in place that they're going to be ahead of the game, so to speak, in the next couple of decades. Again, not without their issue and strife, but they're making very good headway from the past 50 to 80 years. And that is it. So how are we doing on time? We're good. We have a little bit of time for questions. Thank you for your attention. I hope you've taken some information out of this kind of overall high level overview of international markets and how to go about, identifying if this is something for you from either lifestyle or investment or business. But you'll see that it's going to change for everybody. Everyone's circumstance and situation is different. There's no one shirt that fits all. But with this high level overview, I hope it's at least sparked some interest if you've been thinking about it to take a step forward and to research it more on your own. And obviously we'll be presenting more information on this during the year as well. So if anyone has any questions.
So
Grant?
I think Maureen asked a question in the chat.
Okay.
What is BVI?
BVI is the British Virgin Islands in the Caribbean. Did anybody have any money on that?
No, Jadid put in the comments as well. Count India in the list. GDP has increased a lot.
Yes.
Louis, let me ask you this. You gave us a large list of things to consider, right? You had a list of from ROI to politics to all of this. What is a deal breaker for you? What if a country has this in it, would you not invest?
That's a great question. I've never asked myself that before. I would have to say a divided population, where socially there's a lot of unrest. It creates more chaos. People are less productive because they're worrying about the safety of their family, their employment, their livelihood. So that would be something, unfortunate for the inhabitants of that country, but personally, that would be an indicator for me that that place is not ready yet to experience and sustain any type of growth.
Got it. Perfect. And I think I know Mona mentioned here the Dominican Republic she had visited 4 times. Was Costa Rica on your list, Louis? I can't remember.
Let me take a quick. Yes, it was.
Yeah. Good. Just because I'm personally interested in Costa Rica. That's all.
All right.
Is the U.S. no longer a market to invest in? That's a question Bernard put in there. And I think it's because on your list of countries, the U.S. is not there.
It is. It's the first one, but I labeled it as U.S. states.
Got it.
So with that being said, again, my personal opinion, I believe the U.S. in more of the southern states for myself have tremendous opportunity because of the amount of immigration that's coming in there. The cost of living is a little more affordable, and you can't beat the beautiful weather that they get down there. And you combine that with the amount of companies that are relocating within the states intercontinentally to cheaper tax climates, cheaper utilities, cheaper cost of living for their employees. cheaper land to purchase, and building costs still are quite expensive across the board, but they're getting a lot of breaks in other ways. I believe the States is a place to invest for me short term. And I say that only because I can't help but think of the amount of debt the country is racking up. At some point, there's going to be an event that triggers some type of restructuring in the US and on a global scale. The US dollar has also fallen as far as its global currency dominance, almost 20% in the last 25 years. That is significant, right? Things happen very, very slowly and then all at once. I would not want to be caught with all of my eggs in one basket in the States. It can be a beautiful country, and it is a lot of incredible people there. But again, it's a country not without its issues. So I look at it as a hedge for fantastic short-term investing, and I will have one or two properties there long-term, but I'm not looking to invest there substantially for the long term. Just, my preference.
Okay. Any other questions? If we haven't touched on your question, just put your hand up so we know, or throw it in the chat again. Louis, this has been very, very informative. Kyle Guthrow was in our meeting. I know he had to leave early, but is he still here? Kyle, are you around?
I believe Maureen raised her hand as well.
Go ahead, Maureen. And I just want to, before we take Maureen's question, right after Maureen, I'm going to bring Kyle in for about 2 minutes. Perfect. You can give us what can we expect for next month's negotiation call. And I just also want to acknowledge that we normally end this call right at 8:30. We're running a few minutes over, but given by your responsiveness, I think you will forgive us for that. So give us about 5 minutes more. Maureen, real quick, what's your question?
It's just a quick question. Liz, have you done any looking into income tax reciprocations?
There's a lot particular country?
Yeah, like if you're dealing with any of the other countries, have you looked into any of that? I'm just curious, because my own personal thing is that I can't move to, well, you keep saying Malaysia, like I can't move to Malaysia and say goodbye Canada because I get a pension from the Canadian government. So I need to look for a place that has some kind of reciprocal, so I don't have to pay full Canadian taxes here and Canadian taxes in whatever country I choose. So just wondering if you've done any looking into that.
I've started some looking into that, and Maureen, you know me, I'm not an accountant.
Nope, neither am I.
So there are countries that are tax exempt. If you were to move there for a part of the year, they would not tax your income from your country of origin. So you would be able to bring that in. And again, it depends on qualification as far as, are you still gainfully employed? Are you working part-time? Are you retired? How are you entering their country? And what economic benefit are you going to be to them, right? Even if it's just an economic benefit of spending all your money, that's still a benefit. So again, it's different for every country, but the countries that are looking to grow and are really future focused have better terms and opportunity for Canadians.
Got it. Thank you. And I know I'm too old to gain any advantage of moving to Italy because they want young people that'll give them more babies.
They do. You might be able to squeeze it in there.
Thank you, Maureen. Kyle Guthrow, come on in, my friend.
Louis, there we go. Louis Naran, thank you so much. That was very impactful.
Hang on for just a minute, Kyle. Annalisa, if you, or Louis, if you can stop sharing your slide deck. Or
yes,
actually,
let me do that right now.
You know what? Let's go to the end of the slides quick. Hang with us, Kyle.
No problem.
So take a screenshot of this if you need to book a consultation or anything like that with Kyle, myself, Louis, or anybody on our team. info@realestatewealthlab.com. And the next slide. Next slide. You can book.
There you
This
go.
is what, if you are interested in either investing outside of Canada or in Canada, multifamily, negotiating, anything to do with real estate and business, we do this really well because we're all in the trenches. So if you'd like to book a consultation with any of us, please do so. Do not let this pass by. Okay. And for next month, we've got Kyle Guthrow coming in to talk to us about how to properly negotiate and close a real estate deal. Kyle, you want to give us a sampler?
Yeah, first off, Lewis and Rand, thanks for tonight's call. It was super powerful and just motivated me more as a fellow traveler to get out there more. Lewis, I think you're starting to catch me on countries to visit. So I'm at 41. So I think we got a ways
We're
to
neck and neck.
yes. But you're pulling away slowly. Yeah, so I'm really excited for next week, next month. We will be doing it in person and live via Zoom. It's going to be on the negotiation side of it, as we all are well aware. The spring market is around the corner, and there's going to be a lot of deals to be had. And how do you negotiate in hot markets? How do you negotiate with that awful word that a lot of people don't like, bidding wars? Because not always, and this is just coming from a realtor, not always do they pick the highest price. Sometimes the other agent was able to negotiate a better term, better agreement, better price, better whatever it may be, better closing. So there's a lot of factors that comes to negotiations. There's a lot of great books on the topic, and I will be diving into how your body language can deal with in-person negotiations. We'll probably even do some role playing, hint, hint, wink, wink, for those that are coming in person. And I will be able to dissect and hopefully break down and leave you guys with a lot of tidbits on how to negotiate successfully and not make it that the person absolutely hates your guts at the end of the negotiations. A win-win is always the best type of negotiations.
Perfect. I am looking forward to that. I will, if we're doing role playing, I'll wear my best suit and I maybe even put a wig on.
All right.
So this could be exciting. Well,
Thanks, Kyle.
thank you very much, Lewis. I'm going to let you close this call off. But before I hand the call back to you, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and look forward to either chatting with you on a consult or in our next call or in person. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Naren. Thank you for everyone joining us tonight. I hope you found that call insightful and informative, and really lighting a fire for you if international real estate and lifestyle is for you. Find those reasons that will pull you forward into it. Without that, it's a long journey, and you really need the bandwidth to sustain it. So looking forward to seeing everybody March 27th. Thanks again for your participation, and good evening.